What's up? Good morning, everybody. It's time to rise and shred with the one, the only, the always devilishly handsome Mr. Jacob Gaffney. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you had a great weekend. It's Monday morning. It's time to shred. We've got some very exciting things to talk about. Affordable homes in California, is that really a thing? We are talking about what brokers really need, and we're talking about massive amounts of capital that are absolutely flooding into the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to rise and shred. Not gonna lie, Jacob, every time I hear that song, I just get pumped up. I start dancing in my seat here. I'm excited to hang out with you this morning. Mr. Jacob Gaffney of Gaffney in Austin. What is up, brother? How are you this morning? How was your weekend, man?
It was good. It was really good. Thank you so much for asking. Got away a little bit, went to Oklahoma City for a rugby tournament. Not me, of course.
I was going to say, Jacob, you play rugby?
I used to play rugby for Reuters in London. When I worked at Reuters, I played on the City League. Now my daughter plays, and the point is I was away, so I tipped like crazy. I tipped 30%. I stimulated Oklahoma City as best I could. It was a very stimulating trip. You're welcome.
Oh, you stimulated Oklahoma City. That's what I like to hear, Jake. Always doing your part, man. I love it. Love it. All right, man. So we got some fun things to talk about this morning, but I think before we even get anywhere I didn't even know this existed, but is there actually affordable housing in California right now?
Well, there is. I mean, what's affordable? What are you looking for, Josh? You looking for something in San Francisco or like Bay Area, Oakland? Yeah. If you look for Bay Area, Oakland, I've got a really beautiful property for you. It's under $600K. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. A 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom in California, under $600K. It is possible for you. It's a little bit of a fixer-upper there, but what are you? How picky are you, Josh? Do you need a driveway?
No.
Do you need plumbing? I mean, what do buyers want these days? Look at that. Look at that land. I mean, you need grass? I don't think so. This is a stunner. Nice log cabin, plenty of storage, and it is not in the middle of the country at all.
No.
It is in the thick.
This is Oakland, California. This is prime real estate, ladies and gentlemen. And I look at this. If you got a little bit of imagination, some creativity behind you, this is a bachelor pad in the making. Plus, the landscape, not a lot of upkeep. I mean, you don't need to mow the grass, ladies and gentlemen. Jacob, here's the thing that just blows my mind. Can you see this, ladies and gentlemen, right here? This has 42,000 views. 42,000 views of people actually like interested in this real estate. I think it's going to sell. I think, you know what? I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go get it, Jake. I'm going to go drop the $575. We're going to go pay cash for this. We're going to start Shred Studios right out of there. Oakland, California, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
Man, I mean, if you look at the history of this particular property has survived 2 house fires. Name a single family residence today that survives a house fire. Not once, but twice. These things were built to last, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I assume whoever is going to take it, I don't know if they're going to be able to tear it down. It looks like a national memorial type thing.
Absolutely.
But there's plenty. If you look at the lot, there's plenty of opportunity around it. You can see there's houses on either side. I'm sure the neighbors are going to love whatever you do.
I was going to say, no matter what you do, your neighbors are going to love you. So, ladies and gentlemen, here you go. If you're looking for a place in Oakland, that's don't miss out. It's like Bitcoin. It's like cryptocurrency, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. Don't miss out on your opportunity when it's right before you. Oh, my goodness.
You're only competing with 43,000 views there. So
I say, better get on top of it. Ladies and gentlemen. So much more to move on to. Jacob, something else that's kind of hot is companies are amassing all sorts of capital right now. I mean, this is one of those things that not just little, but I mean, a lot of capital.
Yeah, well, we know that the big banks have gone on record saying, look, we have to do a lot more to stay competitive. There are so many fintechs. You've got Blend filing for its IPO. Their value is through the roof. You see all sorts of deals happening in the space. And right now, the strategy of the big banks is to raise as much money as they can. Not sure what they're going to do with it yet. It seems consumer lending is the obvious choice, right? They want to be sure to extend capital to people because we're looking to have a big boom. Maybe not so much mortgages, maybe not so much auto loans, but people are just going to buy. JP Morgan last week did a deal that was astronomical. And I don't think people really understand what's going on. Maybe we could get Chris Whalen on or something to walk us through. But $13 billion in one day, they issued $13 billion in corporate loans. As we were talking before the show, in his life, Bernie Madoff only was able to get 65 billion. So you're talking like over the course of decades, 65 billion. And that was the biggest fraud in history, was 65 billion, right? So you look at JP Morgan, which is not a fraudulent deal. Obviously, it's a legitimate corporate bond sale, nice low rates, right? Lots of good, easy money out there in the market. What could go wrong? They are not the only bank that has done this. All the banks are doing this right now. We just report on JP Morgan because it was the largest deal of its kind ever.
I mean, that's just stunning to me, Jacob. And again, this is something that when we first started talking about this, discussing it, I was absolutely blown away that this isn't just big. This is biggest ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty.
And you could see in the article, the Main Street businesses are just itching for credit. They need credit. They want to expand. They need to hire. They can't pay minimum wage anymore. They can't get people through. There's a movement going on right now, Josh, that is not talked about at all. Okay. And I want to get to the breaking news that we sent this morning as well, and we'll get to that. Yep. But let's talk about the fact that employers are waking up realizing that they have to pay a fair wage, that it is not enough for billionaires, and it's going to take some time to get there. You know, the union efforts at Amazon failed. That was, what are union efforts? An attempt for workers to get more money from the bosses.
Bingo.
Have you ever worked for a union?
Nope, never have.
I've worked for a union. Okay, they hold elections. They do all of that. I've worked for writers unions. I've voted for the Oscars. I did this. I did that. Right, and I paid my dues. And I've got a 401k. Lord knows where it is. They can't tell me. I'm not a member anymore, so they don't want to help me. But
of course,
unions have never helped me personally because I don't think they work. But in this market where there is a ton of capital, it makes sense to spread the wealth. The best way to do it is big tipping. The other way to do it is to pay a higher hourly wage. And that's the only way you can compete to get people to come to work for you, is you got to pay them more. And I'm not talking about any of the businesses we're in. And the people who are on the show, none of the businesses they're in. I'm talking about the businesses you deal with on the day-to-day, right? You see now hiring signs every single time you go get a coffee, every single time you go get a sandwich. There's a now hiring sign on the side of that door. And there's a reason they can't hire people, because they can't afford to pay them what they're worth, which is a lot more than what people are willing to pay. So there's a huge disconnect there. We're going to see how it plans out. But all this later on, man, this leads to home ownership. This leads, people want to build their wealth so they can afford to buy things. And JP Morgan is saying we're building money so that we can give you the credit so that you can buy these things. So eventually, as the economy begins to return, you can see how it all starts to build up until, eventually it all crashes again.
As I say, until eventually it all crumbles down, until it all washes away and we all just fall into the ocean. All right, so we've got a few more things to talk about, Jacob. One of the things, do we want to talk about breaking news next, or do we want to go into what brokers are needing right now?
Well, here's the thing: is it's breaking, not breaking, right? We just sent.
I like that.
You guys just sent a breaking news. We were working on it this morning instead of getting pretty for the show. I was working on the news. Sorry about that, Josh.
Working hard. I appreciate it, Jacob.
We've been saying this for weeks, ever since the CFPB launched its warning to mortgage servicers. We said this is just the first step. They're launching probes now. They're launching probes. Why does the CFPB launch probes? Because they want to penalize you. How do they penalize you? They fine you. Money. Okay. So now they're doing it. We're still looking into it. There's an exclusive story from my former employer at Reuters. Pretty good stuff. They're working hard over there. And they cite 3 sources close to the matter saying that now the U.S. watchdog is cracking down on mortgage servicers. Their language, not hours. They said that they were launching probes, that they've already launched probes, which is the breaking news. We warned that they were going to be doing this, but they're going to be trickling through, finding everybody. And as I said before on the show, Josh, I'm not sure that there's a single mortgage servicer out there that can account for the type of service the CFPB is demanding. I just don't think that servicers had the tech. I don't think that they have the ability to do what the CFPB has asked, and this has made them very, very vulnerable to penalization. They've not had a moment to breathe. And you saw, I read on Housing Wire, Bob Broekschmidt was talking about how mortgage servicers stepped up to the plate. They did, in so much that they could with the resources they had available. They were woefully under-resourced, and now they're going to have to pay for it. So the money they should have invested in technology 2, 3, 4 years ago is now money they're going to pay for the CFPB.
I mean, how many, realistically, Jacob, how many lenders are going to be directly affected by this?
I mean, like I said, it could be all of them. It could be huge, Josh. I don't want to sit here and, it's Monday morning.
Yeah, of course.
Not everyone's had their coffee, and I don't want to make them, start to have tunnel vision and black out. But the CFPB has identified a easy target here. Okay. And it is not something, look, everybody loves a villain, right? And after the last crisis, we know who the villains were. We're going to talk about brokers here in a bit. They got their fair share of a bit of a disparagement, and now it's going to be the servicers. And the good news is that the public at large doesn't understand mortgage servicing, so we have a bit of an advantage there, right? But that's also a disadvantage because they might complain about their lender,
sure,
even though their lender hasn't seen the loan for a year or two,
right?
And then you have the subservicer as well that comes into it. And how many of the consumers know that it's the subservicer? That's not, it's hard. And I'll tell you why, because the mortgage servicers have not been proactively communicating any of this. They've just been allowing the forbearance as they've been following the letter of the law. They have not received much guidance on how to do it, but they've done it. They've done the forbearances. They've done the deferrals after the forbearances. They've done what they could, but they've tested home buyers' patience, and that is going to amount to millions and millions in fines. That's my personal prediction. I think the CFPB has said this is the way that we could show with the new administration that we mean business.
There you go. Keep an eye out, and we're going to continue to bring everything when we can. We're going to continue to share. I love, Jacob, that you're humble enough that you of all people have the education, you have the knowledge, but I love this humble prediction. It's still early to actually see what's going to happen. So stay tuned right here on Rise&Shred, the #1 daily diary, the only daily diary of the mortgage industry. We're going to bring it to you right here. Jacob, you mentioned brokers a second ago, and that's something that I want to talk about. This is something where what are brokers in need of? Are they needing empathy? What are they actually needing from lenders? Let's talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, well, we saw Andrew Berman did a show, right?
Yep.
Great show. Love his work. And he was talking with AmeriSave, right? And the president there was saying that what we need to give brokers as lenders is empathy. We need to treat the broker with empathy, the mortgage broker, because they're in the hot seat. They're the one working with the consumer. And, my question to you, Josh, is that what brokers really need? Do you share that opinion? Is that what brokers are after in this market, that they need empathy, they need support of the emotional level?
See, you know what, Jacob, as we started to talk about this, as I saw this, as we really started to develop this story within Rise&Shred, I started to think, as a broker, again, many of you know I'm still a licensed loan officer. I come from a broker background. Do I still currently originate? No, I'm going to be honest, 100%. I don't originate, but I still have people reaching out to me, and I still talk with brokers every single day, day in and day out. That's what we do, Jacob. We want to hear the voice of the people, and talking with what brokers need. I think empathy is great. I think support, sure, awesome. But what is it for all you brokers originate, everybody, what is you really needing when it comes from your lender? Support. Again, I'm not saying that's the top thing. What I really want to see from lenders when it comes to helping the broker channel is educating on what's going to help their business long-term. Support right now is awesome. Sure. Okay, good. But when I start looking at my business long-term, everybody, a perfect example of this last week, Jacob, is we had droves of people reaching out to us and here at Shred saying, hey, how do I make this transition from refinance to purchase? Refis are going away. You and I have talked about that. Rates are going up. So how do I make this transition from refinance to purchase business? And we don't have lenders coming out and helping originate. We don't helping them brokers say, hey, we're going to help you make that transition. Now's the time to be really focused on that purchase market. We don't have lenders talking about that. It's conversations like this. It's just a general discussion of like, oh, we need empathy, we need support. I don't think so. Brokers are pretty happy, Jacob. Brokers have got a lot of money in their pocket. They had a good year. What they really need is the actionable items that lenders can support them of like, hey, something that we talk about here, go grow your brand. Like, what do you need to be putting out in front of your consumers? What do you need to be putting out in front of your clients to continue to help them, to continue to be that trusted advisor, that mortgage advisor, that mortgage partner that we always talk about? That's what we need to see more of lenders. Whether you want to call that support, some people are like, well, Josh, that's really support. No, it's not. Like, lenders are just having these general blue sky discussions when in actuality, they need to sit down and really need to start giving things to brokers, giving topics of discussion, giving education. So we as a broker community, we as originators can go and educate our borrower. That's what I would love to see. That's the support, if you will, that I want to see from lenders right now. But that's me.
So it's kind of akin to what the CFPB is telling mortgage servicers. Look, you've got to be reaching out. You've got to be proactive. You've got to be engaging. Yeah. And you need to show us that you're engaging. Yeah. These borrowers. You need to know. And we obviously with, everyone see their third party originations are beginning to dwindle, and they want to build that. They want to build that back up. Right. Sure. And how do you do that? Right.
Well, that's even from what you mentioned right there, that's something I would love to see from lenders. If you really want to help your broker community, let's start having those conversations that you and I like about forbearance, about what's to come. Lenders should really start putting out and educating all of us as a broker community, as originator community, on what we should be looking forward to, how we can really be serving those consumers, those clients who are going to be coming out of forbearance. You want to talk about support. That's the true support that the broker channel needs right now.
Amen.
Let's just be honest. I'm going to call it as is. As much as I love, all of you, Michael Brenning over at Marisave, Andrew Berman, I love this discussion. It was awesome. And I'm not saying anything negative towards it. I think it was absolutely brilliant. But just diving into it a little bit more, comment below. Originators, what do you need right now? We'd love to hear your opinion. That's what we're all about. What do you need? What would you love to see from your lenders? What support would you like to see from them? Let's be honest, Jacob. Let's hear what the people have to say, and we'll see that to come. So that's my opinion on it. But we will see. What else we got, Jacob?
Well, let's talk about the workforce. Let's talk
about the workforce.
Yeah, let's talk about people going back into the office. Let's talk about people getting vaccinated. Let's talk about the best places to go back to the office too, right? So we have Fortune put out its list of the top 40 best large workplaces. Now, if you've been following these lists as long as I've been following these lists, which is a long time, I can tell you that mortgage companies don't typically make the cut often.
Not very often.
This Fortune list is unique in that several, like more than I've ever seen, companies in our space made the cut, and good for them. Like all those that you're listing right there made the top 40 places to work, and United Wholesale Mortgage, again, on the list as well, although they're kind of slipping a bit. I didn't go into any detail as to why that was happening, but that begs the question, with the hybrid work from home model looking to be something that we really use to entice people, we want to give them a work-life balance. Do these lists even matter anymore? If people are going to spend the majority of their time working from home, do they care if it's a great place to work?
That's a very good question. Do they care if if they offer lunch from work from, it's funny because we started having these discussions as well. And last week I was speaking at an event, and this was actually one of the poll questions is, are you more productive? There was a lot of questions like, are you more productive at the office? Are you more productive at home? Do you need to be working at home? Or is it, do you need to be going into an office place? There's so much discussion around this. And I still think there are so many different pieces that we can't yet say, to be honest, Jacob. Like we're still, yes, we're a year into this pandemic. We're, almost a year into working from home situations. Is it really like our company's going to start going back? Is Quicken, is Rocket, are people actually going to go back in droves and start working there? I don't know.
I got to tell you what I think about these lists, Josh, is I think that these lists are now more important than ever. But they are at risk of becoming obsolete if they don't modernize. Is your company offering the office as an extension to the home? Or are you making your worker work on their own? Are they using their own equipment? Are they using their own desk? Are they using all the things you used to invest in with them as a worker? Are you investing with them in that situation as home? Are you making sure that their connection is secure? Are you making sure that they're not going to fall victim to cyber crime? We talk about this all the time, that the email scams are just through the roof now because people aren't seeing each other face to face. What are you doing to ensure that this is a good place to work? Are you taking into consideration the work from home environment that you are helping to create? Because one thing that companies need to realize these days, and a lot of them don't, is that they are responsible for the work from home environment.
Bingo.
Okay, we're connected via Zoom, Slack, Teams, whatever. It's easier to be toxic when you're not face to face.
Absolutely.
And that is something that in the long term could really hurt. Now, did this fortune list take all of the stuff I just mentioned into account? Not really, but it should. Right. It should start. It should start doing that. All these lists should take the hybrid work model into account. Other than that, pay no attention to them. And I tell you what, we won't even cover them in the Rise&Shred. We're only going to start covering the legitimate lists that mean something to our readers and viewers.
There you go. I love it. And that's exactly what we're all about here, is we want to cover the things that are legitimate to you guys. We want to cover the things that are impactful. That's what we're being an attention impact network with Rise&Shred. We truly try to bring you guys what's impacting your lives, what's helping you, what's helping us understand and become better. Like we talked about, what do you really need within your business? What do you need within your personal life? And that's what our team continues to strive for. As you can see, as Jacob mentioned, he's over there working hard behind the scenes. That's why he's a little, I like ruggedly handsome this morning. I'm going to go with that this morning, man. That's the new, we actually, this is crazy now. Our team, we had a meeting this morning and we heard that the rise of comfy clothing, you and I talked about this during Zoom calls, is now becoming more and more socially accepted. The rise of stretchy jeans that is socially accepted nowadays, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I represent that comment. So
yes.
On that of the crowd that hasn't worn a belt in more than a year. So haven't had a need. So I'm good there.
Hey, we have more important things to focus on, right, Jacob? We don't need no belts.
Yeah, no, I'm paying my belt money forward. I'm not investing in belts anymore. What I haven't spent on suit, I'm now tipping. So I'm just moving the money from this pocket to that pocket. That's it.
You're sharing hope, man. That's what it is. You're taking that belt money and we're sharing hope right back into our communities. I love it, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, the always educational, the always inspiring Mr. Jacob Gaffney joining us this morning. And you guys can always, every Monday morning, Rise&Shred, we come to you live and we're bringing you the most important, the things that you need to know. We are the one, the only daily diary of the mortgage industry. Click below if you want to subscribe to our daily Rise&Shred. You can get it every single morning. The hottest, the latest, the breaking stories, the breaking news that you need to know. Jacob, as always, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go have an incredible week. And don't forget, shred, show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya. Hey, what's what's up, everybody? Thank you again so much for joining us for today's show. If you like the content, make sure you hit that like button below. And if you already haven't subscribed to our channel, click right over here and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to see our latest video, click over here. And again, if you want to see the best of daily content within the mortgage and real estate industries, you have to subscribe now. We look forward to having you shred with us every single day.